Hello everyone, welcome to Vishesh Educational Videos. In this video, I'm explaining about entity and attributes. Right? I'm going to discuss about different types of entities. Also, along with that, I'm going to discuss about different types of attributes. Right? So, if you're not subscribed to my channel, please subscribe to my channel and don't forget to like the video and please don't forget to share the video with your friends. To get the notification of my new videos, please click the bell icon. Right? So entities and attributes. So what is a entity? Entity is a real world thing or an object with an independent existence. So whatever the object you are going to see in this real world, so that object can be considered as an entity. For example, tree is an entity, fan is an entity, house is an entity. Whatever the object you are going to see in this real world, that object can be considered as an entity. And one more important thing, an entity may be object with a physical existence or entity may be object with a conceptual existence. For example, physical existence means I told you, right? House is an entity, fan is an entity, bench is an entity. For example, I'm a person is an entity, car is an entity, house is an entity. These entities have physical existence. These entities have physical existence. Entities can be also have conceptual existence. For example, a job. Job is also entity, but it is conceptual. University course, degree. Degree is also is an entity. It is conceptual. Hope you are understanding, guys. Right? Physical existence. Hope you understood the difference between physical existence and conceptual existence. Right? House. Right? Job. You can't see the job, but you can see the house. You can't see the degree, but you can see the car. Hope you understood. Entity is a real world object with either with conceptual existence or with physical existence. And one more important thing, each entity has some attributes. Attributes are nothing but properties that are going to describe the entity. It will describe the entity. For example, employee can be described. Employee entity can be described by the attributes such as employee name, age, address, salary, and job. So attributes are nothing but properties that describe the entities. Hope you are understanding, guys. You can see here employees, right? I have two entities here. One is the employee entity and one is the company entity. You can see that the employee have attributes name, address, age, phone, and the attribute will have values also. Understood this guy? Understood, guys? Attribute will have values also. Name attribute will have a value John Smith. Address attribute will have a address, right? Age attribute will have a value 55. Home phone will have the value phone number. In the same way, company entity will have attribute name, headquarters, president, and this attribute has the value also. Hope you are understanding. See, the above figure, the figures shows two entities, right? Two entities means what are those? The employee entity and the company entity. The employee entity has four attributes: name, address, age, and home phone. And their values also I already told you. In the same way, company entities has three attributes, and also all these attributes have some values. Right, guys? Hope you understood. Next, types of attributes. What are the different types of attributes that are present? For example, simple attribute is there, composite attribute is there, single valued attribute is there, multi-valued attribute is there, stored attribute is there, derived attribute is there. So in attributes there are different varieties are there. So now we will discuss those different types of attributes in a more detailed way. So once I take the ear diagram, you will understand these attributes in a very clear way. See here, composite attributes. So composite attributes are the attributes that can be divided into subparts. For example, address. Address is an attribute that can be divided into subparts. For example, address can be divided in such a way that street address, city, state, zip. Again, street address can be divided into street number, apartment number, like that. So these type of attributes are called composite attributes. These attributes can be divided into subparts. Hope you are understanding. So this is a address is an example for a composite attribute. So next type of attribute is a simple or atomic attribute. This attribute, simple attribute, can't be divisible. You can see there composite attribute address can be divided into subparts, but the simple attribute can't be divided into subparts. For example, age of a person can't be divided. Age attribute of a person or age attribute of a employee can't be divided. For example, if a person age is 55, how you can divide that 55? It is not divisible. This type of attributes are called simple or atomic attributes. Hope you are understanding, guys. Next, so single valued attribute. Most attributes have a single value. So some attributes have multiple values. I will explain that. See here, age is a single valued attribute because age of a person can't be two values. Age is a single value. Age of a person can't be two values. Hope you are understanding. That is a single valued attribute. But for some attributes, the values can be more than one. For example, an entity having multiple values for the attribute. For example, color of a car. Color attribute can have different values. Black, red, orange, like that. Person degree. Person can do multiple degrees. BE, MTech, PhD. Hope you are understanding, guys. Age, obviously it can have only one value, but you can see there degree, person degree can have multiple values. One attribute can have multiple values. Color attribute can have multiple values. Hope you are understanding. Single value, multiple value. Single valued attribute, multi-valued attribute. Next, stored and derived attribute. For example, two or more attributes values are related. The age and birth date attributes of a person. For example, the age can be determined. For example, age can be determined by the date of birth. In the same way, date of birth can be determined by age. For example, age attribute is called as derived attribute. Date of birth attribute is called as stored attribute. Because you can derive the age using the date of birth attribute. That's why date of birth attribute is a stored attribute. Age can be derived by its stored attribute, right? That's why age is a derived attribute. You can derive the age of a person using the date of birth. Hope you are understanding. So that's why age is a derived attribute, date of birth is a stored attribute. Next, null values. Some attributes can have null values. Null values means empty values. For example, so particular entity may not have an applicable value for an attribute. For example, the apartment number attribute of an address applies only to the people who are living in the apartment buildings. Suppose I am not living in the apartment, my apartment number will be empty. For example, college degree attribute applies to only people who are having college degrees. Suppose if a person don't have any college degree, the college degree value will be empty. That is null. Hope you are understanding. So some attribute values can be null. It doesn't apply to some attributes. We discussed about apartment number and college degrees. Lastly, complex attributes. So complex attributes is a combination of composite and multi-valued attributes. Right, I can group this composite and multi-valued attributes to form a complex attributes. For example, I can do the nesting by grouping the components of a composite attribute between the parentheses and separating the components with the commas, and by displaying multi-valued attributes between braces. Hope you are understanding. So multi-valued attributes will be included within the braces. Composite attributes will be included between the parentheses. Such attribute is called complex attributes. For example, if a person can have more than one residence and each residence can have single address and multiple phones, an attribute address phone for a person. You can see address phone, This is a complex attribute. See what I am doing here. This address phone contains both composite attributes and the multi-valued attributes, because address is a composite attribute, as you know. Phone number is a multi-valued attribute because a person can have 2 or more phone numbers. Address phone is a composite attribute. Here phone is a multi-valued attribute. That's why this multi-valued attribute will be included within the braces, and the composite attribute will be included, that is area code phone number, within the parenthesis. Hope you are understanding, guys. So this is the example of a complex attribute. So complex attributes is a combination of multi-valued attribute and a composite attribute, right? See, address phone is a complex attribute. It contains both multi-valued attribute and also complex attribute. Example, address phone. A person can have more than one residence, and each residence can have single address and multiple phone. This is the example. Right, guys? So hope you understood the concept. Suppose if you have any doubts, please post your doubts in the comment section. Thank you for watching the video.